Hey guys, John here. It's another episode of Vault of the Dungeon Master, and today's video is about an article I recently read on Polygon, and it's titled "The Dice Can Kill You: Why First Edition AD&D is King," and it's by David Goldfarb. And in this article, Goldfarb talks about early D&D and how when he was a little kid, it first started off that D&D in the early days wasn't really as structured as it was now. He starts off with saying, I remember my first game with a good DM. And he goes into saying that's not a structured game, how early games were really kind of like either Lord of the Rings-esque games, or basically, let's see, I'm gonna kill you with every pet trap in Doom of Horrors. And then he goes on about it and says he went to college and he met another guy who he calls Winters in the article. And Winters followed more of the approach, I guess the more Gygaxian approach, which is you get your roll, you roll your 3d6 for your ability scores. Those are your rolls. They're modified by your race. And if you don't make a class, if you don't qualify for a class, then you're not the class. You have to. And he goes on about this, where while this seems like a archaic way, and it's destroying, you're not creating a character, Goldfarb goes on to say, one second, he goes on to say that the game had meaning, the game had consequences. You're not the smartest, you're not the strongest, you're pretty strong, you're pretty dexterous, but you're not this, And then it goes on, and it continues to go on, and it brings up this one encounter that they had. And he says it's the pits of the Demon Queen. And he basically says that he had died until his one friend, who's playing a mage, is the last character alive, going up against Lolth. He's got like a 90% magic resistance, and then he's got the saving throw. And the mage casts Disintegrate. So, 90% magic resistance, normally, you wouldn't do it, but it does it. And the DM botches the DM misses the magic resistance, so the spell goes off, and botches the saving throw. So the mage disintegrates Lolth. Disintegrates a goddess. And that finger becomes the finger that's disintegrated a god. And he kind of sums up the article where it's like, D&D, or AD&D, the consequences came from the die rolls. The story comes from the consequences. And I think that's very interesting thing. And he also states that a lot of modern games are trying to harken back to this. Dark Souls, the video game, very unforgiving game, kind of really takes a lot of kind of homage to these early D&D principles. And that got me thinking when I read this article. And I'll post a link in the description about that on this article so you all can read it. Because I think every D&D/role player, whether you're playing 1st edition, 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition, Pathfinder, Rollmaster, whatever game is your game, you should read this article. Because this article is really good. It makes you think. At least it made me think. And I was thinking, that's actually, I never thought of it that way. I never thought of, I remember the first time I read the original Player's Handbook and the qualifications, it didn't make sense. Why does a fighter need this? But you know what, that makes sense. It's an idea. it may be, that might be some way to run a game. Like, just one game. One, like, level. It doesn't even have to be a level 1 game. But it's like, no. Your roles are your roles. Roll them in order. They're your roles. And even if it's, you know, you need this, like, even 3rd edition had the qualification stats. So. But yeah. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this article. I also would love to hear, I think this might be a good one. A good one. Either make a video response or put it in the comments about your most wildest DM story, or player story, game story. That's, you know, just about this, you know, like the, you know, the finger that has disintegrated a god. You know, those types of stories. Those types of stories that really it came down to a die roll. You can't replicate those. Because that really had a crutch. That's what D&D is. And that's what role-playing games are. That's what this hobby is. This hobby is, and that's why we use dice, is that because you can't replicate it. You just gotta have that random element. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this little video. I hope you all read the article. It will be in the description. And as always, I'm John, and happy gaming.